NTB, man. So a lot of times people go into court and they make a big mistake. Family court, criminal court, civil court, whatever. But definitely in family court and criminal court specifically, people make the mistake of just focusing, oh, the law says this and the law says that, and I should win because of this and I should win because of that. And they just focus on the law. And that's a big mistake. When you go into court, you have to have the ability to look beyond the law and look at the people, all of the people who are involved in the case, and understand the psychology of the people. That's what this video is about. The psychology of things. NTB, man.
Yeah, so NTB, man. So yeah, a lot of times when you're dealing with cases in criminal court, you have to bring all of your life experience, all of your knowledge and your skills to do the analysis rather than just depending on your legal acuity, right? Because a lot of times you have to analyze things based upon the mind of a man, right? Or the mind of a woman, how they think. Not necessarily just what they did, but how they think, And for instance, right, I had a case, and this is showing you the distinction in when people are doing it and when they not. I had a case, and I had a prosecutor. This prosecutor was just adamant about prosecuting this young man who didn't need to be prosecuted. He did not need to be prosecuted. Straight up, he was a young rising football star at a high school. His mother was coming from the inner city, and they lived in the inner city, and he went to school, and he was trying to find his way out through football. But he was a small guy, but an exceptional talent. I like 145, 150 pounds, high school guy. It was like a private school, so they all wore uniforms. But he was in the newspapers a lot. They had a lot of write-ups on him, and a lot of college interested in him. And so one day after school, he and his friends were coming out of the store, 3 o'clock, and they bought some, potato chips and, 25-cent juices. And they're coming out the store, and a big old grown behind man, 40 years old, is in the doorway. They hit the doorway at the same time. So he's telling them to move, get out the way. And they're like, yo, no, you get out the way. We're coming out. Let us out. And so, this standoff in the doorway. And one thing led to another. And the man and the boys, the three boys, got into a fight, a physical altercation. And so the man, he gets the worst of it, The three boys, they're not going to let this man just jump on one of them. They're all high school boys, they friends. So they defend their friend. And in the process, in the fight, the man loses his shoe, comes off, loses his hat, goes flying, loses cell phone, flies out his hand onto the floor. And then, the scuffle is broken up, and, the kids, they go their way. And then the man gets up, and he's like, oh, where's my hat? Where's my shoe? Where's my phone? I can't find my phone. They robbed me. They robbed my phone. And so he calls the police on the kids and says that he was robbed. That the attack was based upon an attempted robbery, not what it was, not what it really was. So anyway, police come, they start picking up any kids with a uniform on after school. So they round up a bunch of kids. You was involved with this fight, because the kids had moved on by that time. Eventually they picked up my client and two of his friends, and they get them down to the station, let the other kids go. They rounded up. And now they're charging them. Listen to this. They're charging them, 15 years old, they're charging them as adults. They're charging them with assault. Mind you, this too. His mother just brag about him all the time, just rave about what a good kid he was and how well he was doing in school. And she would show me the articles of him in the newspaper, just her pride and joy. Single mom from the projects, trying to get her kid to a better life. Anyway, so I go to the courts and I'm looking around and I see him, this little kid. And I'm like, what the heck? You know, all these hardcore robbers and scammers and, you know, thugs from the Brooklyn streets and this little 15-year-old kid sitting up in there. So I talk to him, you know, I tell him, you know, his mom wants me here to try to work things out. So let me talk to the DA, find out what's going on. So I go over to the DA and I introduce myself. I tell him, you know, I'm here to represent such and such. And so he pulled the file. Oh, okay. So I asked him, can you find out what's going on with the case? He pulled the case. Oh, okay. This is yeah, Mr. Such and such. Oh, okay, well, yeah, he and his friends, they jumped the man, the CW, and CW is complaining witness, and they beat him and robbed him of some possessions or attempted to rob him for some others. And so we're charging him with robbery and assault and gang assault and like what? He had charges from the floor to the ceiling, man. And I'm like, this is bananas. And so I asked him, I said, let me ask you something. I said, do you know his age? He said, yeah, he's 15. I said, so why is he even here? Why is he here? Besides the fact that all those charges are bogus, should he not be in family court? And he don't know, Mr. Bay, we don't do that anymore here. Fights after school, we take very, very serious. These kids it's not like what it was when I was like, listen. He's going on and on trying to justify why he's charging his 15-year-old child as an adult. And he's telling me that he's looking at 25 years in the penitentiary. And he's doing this all with a straight face, no empathy, no nothing. And he's telling me that, you know, the case is going to be going to the grand jury, yada, yada, yada. And I'm asking him, can he send this over to family court? He refuses to put in a request to do that. He's going to prosecute these kids as an adult, meaning they're going to process him not as a child, but as a grown behind man, give him grown behind time, send him to a grown behind prison if convicted. Prison, not jail. And so, you know, I give his family the grim news. And you know, I definitely speak my piece on how this is a part of the criminal justice system has to be fixed because this is unfair and it's being used towards poor people, people who don't have power, and it's an atrocity. Children's lives are being destroyed. And all this man's talents, they're gonna try to put him under the jail. So anyway, so we go on. I'm prepping for the case, and they give me the grand jury date. And so I call the DA periodically, you know, to get a sense of what we're going to do with this case. Has he had a change of heart? I'm sharing information with him about the kid, the family, his prospects for the future, and you know, asking him don't put this weight on his family because they don't have the money to really pay. And the kid didn't do what they saying he did. And the kid has a bright future. Don't throw him away. And he resists. He's like, nope, we're going forward. Grand jury date. I said, well, listen, man, you know, my sense is that you're not going to get this case out of a criminal court. But my sense is that you have a weak case. And so it's unfair prosecution. And my sense is that your CW may not even be a participant in this prosecution. He said, oh, no, Mr. Bay, you're reading this case wrong, very, very wrong. He's a full participant. He's totally committed to getting justice for what was done to him. And I said, okay. So when's the jury date? So he give me the date. We stand by. So he calls me, day of the grand jury. Oh, Mr. Bay, we had to postpone the grand jury. Why? What happened? Oh, the CW didn't show up. Oh, okay. Oh, he didn't show up, huh? This is the guy he's telling me is fully committed to this prosecution. He didn't show up. Okay, but we got a new date, so he had an emergency. So, okay, well, I told you you're going to have a problem with the CW. He's not. he's not fully committed to his prosecution. So I'm asking you to just let this case go. He's like, oh no, Mr. Bay, I told you we can't do that. So he goes on. Next date, CW doesn't show up. And check this out. And he's not even answering his phone anymore. He's ignoring the district attorney. He's not answering his phone. They can't even contact him. So he calls me. I get a call. Because I know when the DA called my phone, their number comes up in a certain way, their office. So it comes up, and I'm like, oh, that's the DA. Let me see what this guy wants. But I already knew. So I pick up the phone, and he tells me, oh, Mr. Bay, I got some good news for you. So you got good news for me? What, you got a problem with the CW? He said, yeah, unfortunately, we can't contact him. He's missing in action. So, good news, we're going to just drop the case. I told you should have done that from the beginning. This wasn't a fair prosecution from the beginning. I know, Mr. Bay, that's how you feel, but, I have to do my job. I said, your job is justice. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting me know. You have a great day. And I leave. And so the thing is, I'm sure he really believed in his mind that he had a solid case. He had a CW that was going to work with him. But again, what I told you earlier in the video, a lot of times you have to get beyond just the law. And that's what he's looking at. He's looking at the law. He's looking at the books. He's looking at the alleged crime and the allegations. But he's not looking into the mind of a man. He's not looking into the mind of a man. And how in the heat of the moment, yeah, the man is mad. He's upset. He got whipped. But then, at the end of the day, he came to his senses. His emotions settled down, and he came to realize that to prosecute these young kids, it wasn't just. As a man, he realized to prosecute these young kids and to take their lives over an emotional interaction that just got out of hand, that he as an adult should not have let get out of hand. He wasn't going to do it. And lastly, what he wasn't going to do as a man was going to walk in court, raise his right hand in front of the grand jurors, and testify in the grand jury while all these people are listening that he got whipped as a grown man by three little bitty high school kids. He wasn't going to do it. That's psychology. He just wasn't going to do it. Because they were going to be looking at him like, okay, well, you're 40, you're big, these are little kids. Like the women are going to be stabbing. They might have questions like, okay, so I see you can say you got your ass whipped, but did you fight back? I mean, did you get a lick in? Like, did you get one punch in? I mean, did you get a blow in for all mankind? Did you get any licks in? They just whip on you, man. Like nobody's business. Well, man, I was trying, and the kid was fast. He was whipping on me. Come on, man. He ain't doing that, man. So this was a predictable ending to a situation that just really got out of hand. And the district attorney's office, in this instance, I was very disappointed. They should have put the brakes on this. But justice prevailed, psychology prevailed, and this young man went on to college to play football at a very, very high level. And his friends, I don't know what happened to them, but he's doing fine. Anyway, the psychology of things, have to look a little bit deeper. The psychology of things. NTV, man.